Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Dorri Bland. I am coming to you from the Downtown Spa located here in Georgetown. This is our Chit Chat with Dorri and Dr. Lorraine Wilson. So today we are bringing to you a guest speaker, Pauline Farquhar, who works with us at the Downtown Spa. She is a holistic practitioner and a consulting certified in consulting hypnosis. There's my pal, Dr. Lorraine Wilson. Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
good. It's
Good
such a,
stuff. I am so excited to listen to what Pauline has to tell us today about hypnosis. I do believe that people have a preconceived idea about hypnosis, and I think the first thing they think about is being dragged up on a stage and made to cluck cluck like a chicken or do some silly things, right? Hi
abs-
there, there's Pauline. How are
Hi,
you? Thank you for
I'm good,
joining
thank
us
you.
today. I'm so excited. I want to
Thanks
hear
for
all
having
the
me.
do's and the don'ts and get rid of those preconceived ideas that people, have stuck in their head about cluck cluck and the chickens and making a fool of yourself on stage and all that kind of good stuff. But I happen to know firsthand how talented you are and how this type of therapy, treatment, technique, however you want to put it, does work. It worked for my husband to quit smoking, and I thank you so much for that. No one in our family smokes, so whenever he would walk into a room, we're like, ew, ew, go wash your hands, go, go, go. So now we don't have to do that. He's not like the black sheep of the family anymore. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
I just taught him how to do it. He did the work.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
All right, so I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started, and give us the lowdown on hypnosis.
sure,
Thank you.
sure. Well, I was a holistic health practitioner for over 15 years, and I wanted to add hypnosis to the many modalities that I had practiced for many, many years. Because I'd been interested in hypnosis, but it just wasn't time yet. So I studied hypnosis, and once I started using it with my existing clients, that was it. It was amazing. I was so impressed with how quickly they changed and how fast and simple it was for them. It was almost effortless,
Wow.
and I was sold. And I was using it for myself in order to be a lot calmer when it came to talking to groups of people. I'm on my own weight loss journey with hypnosis, and it's going great. Yeah, it's just I fell in love with it and decided that I was just going to jump in with both feet and focus on hypnosis for my clients because it touches every aspect of your life,
Absolutely.
and it really changes the way you look at yourself and you look at the world.
Yes. So
Yeah.
the treatments don't end with like the two that people always think about, obviously, are the quitting smoking and the weight loss. But there's so many
Mhm.
other like treatments that can go with that, as far as like self confidence or relationships, or like you say, getting rid of some fears. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Oh, absolutely. I've helped people with public speaking
Mhm.
as well as myself. I've also, people have a fear of flying. It's a really common fear.
Yes.
And so you can actually people can get on planes and go on trips again.
There we go.
I have a cousin who was terrified of driving over bridges. You know, the fears that we have, they're real in our own mind, and we react to them the same way we would as if our life was in danger,
Right. Right.
right? So it's just really our mind is trying to keep us safe. So we need to really change the way we look at it so that we can live a happier life
Exactly.
and kind of, just change it and to know that we're not in danger
Yes.
and we'll be okay. My cousin was terrified of snakes and now she can actually pick them up, which is
Oh
kind of
my
cool.
goodness.
Yeah.
Even if I got over that fear, I don't know if I'd pick them up. But anyway, that's just me. So, what happens exactly with hypnosis? Not about the treatment yet, but what happens in the brain? Is it redirecting thoughts, or is it what happens with the brain? How does that work?
Well, really, if you look at hypnosis, you look at a person, we have our conscious and our subconscious minds, or our unconscious mind. And our conscious mind is where we make our decisions, we want to do things. And our unconscious mind has already been programmed as whether or not it's going to happen.
Uh,
So over the years, we program our unconscious mind from the time we're really, really little, right? So you look at it as like almost like a horse and a rider.
mm-hmm.
So the horse is the unconscious mind. It's going to take you wherever, whereas the rider can try and steer it, but sometimes the horse will get away from the rider.
Right.
And so what we want to do is we need to change. That's why willpower doesn't work so well, right? Because our conscious mind, we decide, say we want to quit smoking. We know it's bad for us, so we want to quit smoking. Or we know the fear we have of driving over a bridge doesn't make any sense, so we want to stop that from happening. But it's already been programmed into our unconscious mind, and it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why willpower doesn't work. It will let you get away with it for a couple of days,
Mm-hmm.
but then you go back to the old way of doing things. So what happens is with hypnosis is we kind of bypass that conscious part of ourselves,
Right.
and we help make the changes in the unconscious mind.
So, mindset at a cellular level still?
Yeah, somewhat. It's really because every fear or every thing that we do in life, we do it because there's a reason for it. Like our fears are to keep us safe. We smoke or we overeat or binge eat or bite our nails or do different things because there's a benefit that we've associated with it. Whether it's to feel safe and secure, whether it's to not have to feel something,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's to de-stress.
Right.
So with hypnosis, we find new ways to get that same benefit, de-stressing, feeling safe, relaxing,
Right.
without the habit that we already know is bad for us, that's hurting us.
Right.
So,
So,
So yeah,
sorry, Lorraine, go ahead.
yeah.
what was that?
So, I'm wondering, just for our listeners, if you could just talk about kind of what happens in a session, so people could kind of get an idea, um, that they're not going to be up on a stage somewhere and being made.
Well, a lot of people ask that question is like, can you make me do something that I wouldn't normally do or I wouldn't behave in that manner? And no, hypnosis can't make you do anything that goes against your moral or ethical beliefs. It's impossible to go against your moral, ethical beliefs. But that always brings the question. So what if you don't have any? That can make life interesting.
That can be real interesting.
Yeah, but you think about hypnosis is really it's an extremely relaxed state. Your body is just you finally giving yourself permission to relax, and we don't give ourselves that permission a lot. So it's really easy to go there and to know that this is your time to just relax your body and your mind. And once your body and mind is relaxed, you get yourself into this state really where you are almost hyper focused. You're so aware of everything that's going on around you, but you're so relaxed you really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's when now that's when we can start talking or having this conversation with the unconscious or the subconscious mind and start making those changes that you want to make.
So,
And everything always has to be done on a positive level as well, right? We always know that. It's like you never look at what you want to stop doing, you always look at where you want to go.
so that
What is it you're focusing on?
that conversation, is that like a verbal conversation between the person and yourself, or is it sort of like you speak to the person and they kind of internalize it? Like, how does that work?
That's me talking to them. Like I sit down with a client and I will go through what's called a screening process. My screenings are free. So basically, if anybody contacts me, I just let them know that the only thing I need from them is that sincere desire to change. Once they've confirmed that there's a sincere desire to change, then I will go through what's called a screening process. And the screening process can last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on what's going on with the person. And we really get down to what's happening with them, why they're doing it, how is it hurting them, the different things that are going on with them, and really finding out everything about them as a person, as a human being. And then if I do end up accepting them as a client, then when I meet with them, how many sessions there are, whatever's going on with them at that time, then my suggestions are always customized specifically to that. So yeah.
So the number of times somebody comes to you with hypnosis varies depending on where they're at. Is that right?
I'm sorry?
Does the number of times that a person comes to you for hypnosis, does it vary and they're at with the change?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I never see a person just with one session because I want to make sure that everything is okay with them. So my smallest sessions are always 3. And that's just to make sure that they've made the changes they need to make, and we want to do all the reinforcements and they're good to go. But realistically, I offer people a variety of package sessions after I've had my conversations with them to find out what they think is going to work for them. And they can always add on sessions if they need them. And then I have a fully written guarantee as well that goes along with it. So any time if something happens, say with Dorri's husband, with Mike, if he decides to start smoking a year from now, he can always call me. So if something happens, because life happens sometimes, and we're unprepared for it. So he can call me for a free session to just kind of reinforce everything that we worked with.
Wow.
And
I thought that was so awesome. I mean, where do we ever get like a guarantee? Yes, you're going to do this for the duration of your life. This is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, I'm here to help you at no charge.
That's right.
How many, how many things in life do we get that with? Probably not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Can you tell me a little bit, like, I know that you have your, what do you call it? Audio. They listen to something, a headset.
Oh, I do some audio programs, some pre-programmed audio programs that I use in my clinic. Basically, I'm a member of what's called the Master Hypnotist Society. This is a group of hypnotists that has been around. It was founded about 35 years ago. And so Scott, who's the founder of the society, he recorded a whole bunch of audio programs that we can use as members of the group. And we find that when I work with a client, if I use an audio program as well as customized suggestions, they tend to go a lot deeper into the hypnotic trance, which allows them to be a lot more accepting of suggestion. So they'll listen to the audio programs, and they'll listen, and then I'll do customized suggestions specifically for them. They'll have the audio programs that they listen to in between our sessions to reinforce, because we know that repetition is the mother of all learning.
Right.
So to keep them on track and to keep them really focused on their goal, because life does happen, right? And so you want to make sure that they have something at their disposal to use and to repeat, because hypnosis, like everything else in life, is repetition. That's how we learn to do whatever we're doing.
So you're retraining.
Yeah.
Retraining.
So a lot of times, if you look at somebody who's a smoker, they actually hypnotize themselves into smoking cigarettes. So then we're going to unhypnotize that and hypnotize something new.
So does that person say, I need this, and then it becomes a habit?
In some ways, yeah. It depends on the reason they started in the first place.
Right.
Like, why did they pick up that first cigarette?
Yeah.
Did they pick it up because they wanted to be part of a group? So it was the cool thing to do. So then they're like this cool kid, right? Because all their friends are doing it. So they feel like they belong to that group.
Right.
And then after a while, it just turns into something that they use to, I had a client that he was positive he was using it for as something to do out of boredom. And then we found out that he was actually using it to de-stress.
Right.
He was finding out that his job was so stressful that he needed to take that break. And in order to force himself to take a break, he had a cigarette.
Right.
Now he's a very proud non-smoker.
Awesome. So I noticed after Mike would have the session, not the first time so much, but the second time, he just looked like he was like, so relaxed, just, drifting. And then the third time, I said, do you need to have a sleep? Like, you look like really tired. And he goes, you know what? I went into this trance, he called it. And he said, I thought I was out for 10 minutes. And he said, I was out for 45 minutes. So what happens to that person? Do they just get so relaxed that they lose track of time, and are they listening to this? Is it subliminal messages? What is it?
Time distortion is a really big part of hypnosis. Like, I will ask my clients most of the time, how long do you think you were under? And I'll get responses like 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes people will say 30 minutes, but it's been an hour.
Yeah.
And most people are really surprised, but time distortion is a really big hint. It's a good clue for you to know that you have been hypnotized, that you have experienced it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
So we do, like, I do use a couple of different proven examples in my office to show people that they've experienced hypnosis. You know, we go through, and it's just a matter of you listen and you do what you're told to do, and you kind of get trapped there.
Right.
Which is really cool. And it's just such, it's really just intense listening, intense and focusing on what's being said. I tell people, if you want this to work, all you have to do is listen and do as you're told.
Right.
It's that simple. It's that simple.
Yeah, so it just seems like you're retraining your mindset, your habit patterns, but at the end of the day, like you say, you have to want it, and that's why you do the intake, right?
Yeah.
And
well, it's part of becoming an adult, right? Really, right? It's like, owning the fact that you're a grown-up.
mm-hmm.
Like, does a grown-up do something to kill themselves?
Yeah.
In order to relieve stress?
Yeah.
It's like you're killing yourself on the payment plan.
Yeah.
Right? When you're smoking cigarettes, or even when you're overweight. There's so many people, they come and see me, and they're dealing with, like, they've got 50 pounds, 150 pounds to lose. I was just speaking to a woman yesterday. She's like, she said, I've got 200 pounds to lose. And I asked her, I said, how is this hurting you? And she said, well, it's not really, but I know, like, I want to be able to buy some newer clothes. And after a while, we had this long conversation about how much her knees were sore, and how she couldn't climb a set of stairs. But she had adapted so much to this that it was outside of her own awareness. Mm-hmm. It's like when I talk to a smoker and I ask them, how much money are you spending a year? And they're like, well, it's not about the money. And then when I tell them over 10 years, you're going to be saving about $20,000, then all of a sudden it's about the money.
Yeah.
But we adapt so much to what's going on around us as humans. We just kind of adapt and we adjust. And then when it's pointed out how we've adapted and adjusted, that's when we know we can make the changes.
Right. So are the programs all the same? So if you're helping someone that is a smoker or weight loss or stress or fears, are the programs all the same, or are they a little bit different?
The same in what way? What is it you're asking?
So is it the same, like when they're listening to the audio tape, is it just the same? So we're just changing the habit no matter what the habit is, or are the habits different?
The habits are different. It depends on the person.
Yeah.
In so many ways. Like when I have a person who signed up for multiple sessions with me, one day we could be doing hypnosis. Another day we might not be doing any hypnosis. We might be doing some NLP techniques. We might be doing some modeling. We could be doing some different techniques to get them to really focus on replacing the behavior with something else, really focusing on that secondary benefit that they're getting from it.
Right.
Another might be strictly, they'll come in, I'm going to set them up to hypnosis, an audio program right away, and then I'm going to reinforce it with custom at the end. I've got them reading chapters out of different books and then teaching it back to me. There's so many different things that I do in a session, and it really comes down to what that person needs on that day.
Yes.
When they come in and see me, because it's always the first thing that's said that I say to someone when they walk in is, what's going great? What's been going great this week?
Yeah.
And what is it we need to work on right now? What's happening? And if they're honest with themselves and they're honest with me, it's amazing what can happen.
Yeah. So your programs are unique to the person, and every week can be different, just depending on how you're peeling the layers off that onion to see what's going on that day.
Yeah, absolutely. We go through sessions where an entire session will be multiple NLP techniques. We'll have a session where it's waking hypnosis.
Right.
Where they're sitting there and we're having a conversation, but they're actually changing the way they look at something. And then maybe we'll have a little bit of reinforcement at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really comes down to everything is completely customized for the person who's sitting in front of me at the time.
That's good to know.
Because
my
everybody's
different. Everybody's
absolutely
unique in their own way.
Yeah.
Can you just explain a little bit, what is NLP?
NLP is what's called neuro-linguistic programming.
Mhm.
And so we use NLP techniques kind of go hand in hand with hypnosis. A lot of people don't know a lot about NLP, but if you look at communicating, when you're having a conversation with someone, about 7% of the communication between two people is the words that are spoken. The other 93% are the body language and the tone of the words and the way the person is reacting to their environment. So you really have to focus on all of these other aspects. So when we do NLP techniques, what we're doing is we're really looking at the other ways that this person communicates with the world and with themselves and what's going on. You know, you'll have someone who, last week I had someone who she was dealing with confidence issues. And it was because every time she tried to do something, she had this voice inside of her head telling her that she wasn't smart enough. And so after a while talking, we realized that was her mom's voice.
Oh,
So then we changed the voice.
right.
So that the voice was no longer something that was going to work. So I said, okay, imagine your mom is in your hand. Put your mom in your hand, make her small, put her in your hand. She's looking at you and she's talking to you. Now imagine that if she inhaled helium and she's still telling you. And she started laughing. I said, it's really hard to take her seriously now, right?
Oh my goodness.
So just changing just a few tweaks and changing those little formats makes a huge difference.
Wow. So it all boils down to our thoughts again.
It all boils down to what we're getting out of it, you know, because we don't do anything as human beings. We do nothing without a benefit for it. If we're not getting something out of it, we're not going to do it. And so when it comes to, biting our nails or overthinking, you know, it's different ways that we protect ourselves or we experience being free. But the first thing we want to do is we want to see how that person really copes with the world, because so many people don't what's called level. They don't level with themselves. They're not, you know, when I was in the corporate world, we used to joke about how you just own your mistakes and be done with it, right? It's like so many employees wouldn't own what they did. They'd start, you know, well, he said, or he said, or he said. So one of the first things you want to do is you want to see what that person, what is their coping skill. So one of the very first things that I do with a person is I will get them to do I'll get them to act out the little coping stances to see where they are. There was a psychotherapist by the name of Virginia Satir, and she wrote this book, and it's all about how she labeled these coping stances, how people cope with the world as opposed to leveling with themselves. So the first thing you're going to do is, if you guys want to try this, it's always fun. So look at the wall. Don't look at each other. Don't look at a person, but look at the wall and go, it's all your fault.
It's all your fault.
And then hold your hands up and say, whatever you want, I'm just here for you.
Whatever you want, I'm just here for you.
And then put your finger on your thumb, on your chin. If we were to analyze this, we would find. If we were to analyze this, we would find.
If we were to analyze this, we would find.
And then hand up like this, another hand up like this, tilt your head, stick your tongue out. There's no words for that one. So those are the 4 coping stances that Virginia Satir came up with.
I'll be walking
so
around doing this, okay?
You're actually doing those. People are actually doing those as opposed to leveling. So what it is you think about, if you had a boat and there was water in the boat, there was a hole in the boat, and there was water coming into the boat. The blamer would say, who put the hole in the boat? Right? And the placater would say, I'll jump to shore and the boat will sink slower.
Yeah.
Right? And the computer would say, based on how quickly the water is coming in this boat, we are going to be sunk in 10 minutes flat.
Yeah.
And the distractor would say, look, a bird! But nobody's fixing the hole in the boat.
Right. Oh my goodness. I love it.
So if somebody has a bad habit or something that's not keeping them healthy, they have a hole in their boat.
Yeah.
And they're coming up with all of these different reasons about why they do what they do.
Instead of getting to the root of the problem.
Yeah.
So notice that we're about 5 minutes to 1. So I'm wondering, Dorri, how we want to sort of focus the rest of our time because of where we're at.
Yes. Well, let's let Pauline tell us about what the giveaway will be today. And then we'll do a draw, and then we'll just talk a little bit about what's going to go on next week with our guest speaker. And we'll wrap it up from there. We'll let you, Lorraine, give us a little bit more insight on our program that we are scheduled to start mid-September. How's that?
Awesome. And I have a tarot for today too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, great.
Okay, Pauline, what's up
Okay, well,
today?
the giveaway today is a free stress release session with me. That session can be anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half long, and it's completely free. Whatever it is that's stressing you out, we're going to give you some techniques on how to manage the stress in your life. So free
Awesome.
stress
Thank
release.
you so much. So the lovely Erica has been filling in all the names on the wheel. So let me just tap it. Oh my goodness. Carmi McCormack. Congratulations. You have won the session.
Awesome.
Stress relief,
Yay.
stress management with Pauline. So we'll
Yeah.
just call the spa and set that up. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Perfect. Thank you. All right.
Thank
So
you.
next week, we have Meryl DaCosta joining us. She's a physiotherapist, and she's going to talk to us about pelvic health. Yay! I told you the story about me teaching fitness classes, jumping up and down like a maniac, and one of my participants coming over and just going, "Dear, I don't think you should be doing that." I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Not so fine. Can't wait for Meryl to get on there. So she's going to give us all kinds of tips and tricks, and she's got some physiotherapy techniques that help with different ailments, shall we call them. So, Dr. Lorraine Wilson, will you give us and remind us about our sessions that we have coming up in September? Give us a little insight on that.
Yeah, so just everybody to remember, we have a fabulous group planned. So this is going to be about a journey to freedom. It's a women's group, a journey to freedom. And we're going to be looking at how we can look at the stress in our life and how we can be empowered to be free. So it's wonderful. It's going to be a 7-week group, and we're going to incorporate as a supplemental bonus your ability or your opportunity to test different spa centers as part of the work and the program. And we're going to build a little community. So there's only going to be about maybe 6 to 8 people, plus Dorri. Be an exclusive. We'll be able to get that community. Pretty exciting.
So looking forward to it. And as always, our body, mind, and spirit connection is at the base of this program. So we're really fired up. We're looking forward to it. And Pauline, maybe we're going to have you in as a guest speaker. Who knows? We've got so much planned. So much planned.
Sounds fun.
Can't wait. All right. So before we sign off, let's have our little tip for the week.
Okay. So the intention when we draw a tarot card is to look for Spirit's message to our Chat with Dorri Instagram viewers. And so what I'll do is I'll draw a card with that intention, and then I'll give you the message from Spirit for the week.
Okay. Okay.
Well, this is awesome. Do you remember last week when the card that Dorri had? I said, don't freak out, it's okay. But this is actually an awesome card. I'll just bring it in here for you. Ooh. It is Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords. So this is an awesome card because it's a card of breakthroughs and new beginnings. It's just an awesome tie-in to your message today because the card's invitation is to invite everybody to have that breakthrough. This is the cusp of a breakthrough, and you are being invited to embrace it. And the secondary message to this card is with every breakthrough, there's responsibility. So it's not like, woohoo, tax-free and I won the lottery, right? It's like, woohoo, and now I got to do the work. So breakthrough card, go for it.
Yes. And we are here to help you. Body,
Yeah.
mind, and spirit. We are going to cover it. The downtown spa is heading off in our wellness direction. Total beauty from the inside out. That's our message. Well, thank you so much, Pauline, for joining us today. Dr. Lorraine Wilson, always a pleasure. Signing off. See you next week. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.